Hey guys, this is Panda Tank and I've got another gun comparison for you. This is the LMG comparison for the medics. As always, I'll be using the same kit out for the class setups, so this being the red dot sight and magnum ammo. The only exception is the MG36, as it already has a pre-placed red dot sight. So in replace of the spec kit, I used a kit out which did not affect the result. Also, to let you know, this is going to be a two-part video. First up is the PKM LMG. The PKM LMG is a good weapon to use. For me, this LMG is a good weapon in all areas. So this being, it has good damage, good rate of fire and decent accuracy. As expected, the PKM LMG has a slow reload rate, but this is compensated by the decent magazine size. For long range shooting, this LMG is manageable, as this LMG doesn't suffer from high recoil. Overall, this is a great weapon to use for starters and advanced users, because it's decent in all areas of the battlefield, and I've not had any problems with it using at all distances. So if you're not comfortable with the LMGs, this is probably the best weapon to use, because it's probably the best weapon to be comfortable with until you get better. I mean, the damage rate on this weapon isn't too bad. You can see yourself killing 2-3 guys before you die. So you won't see yourself spending massive amounts of bullets trying to kill someone. So if you want to get better LMGs, use this weapon, because it's not frustrating to use. Next up is M249 SAW. The M249 SAW is a decent weapon to use. It does decent damage and has a slightly faster reload rate compared to the PKM. It has a larger magazine size, so this being 200 instead of 100. The recoil on this LMG isn't much different from the PKM, except it does suffer from a higher kickback compared to the PKM, so this being the angle increasing with each shot. The best thing about this LMG is the fast fire rate, so this being faster than most LMGs, this becomes the most effective LMG in close range combat. As for long range combat, this LMG does suffer in damage, so you find yourself struggling to kill at long ranges. Overall, this is a good weapon to use, as it has a fast fire rate and a huge magazine size. My only problem with this LMG is the long range damage, so my personal advice is to use this weapon at close range maps such as White Pass, as on long range maps such as Eureka Harbour, this weapon will be a problem. So if you want to deal out some quick damage to groups of people, this is definitely a good weapon to use. Next up is the Type 88 LMG. The Type 88 does high damage and has a fast fire rate. It has a similar reload rate as the PKM, but suffers from a higher recoil compared to the previous LMGs. This weapon has a high magazine size, so this is similar to the M249 SAW in terms of ammo, so you won't find yourself reloading too often in combat. The best thing about this weapon is the high damage rate though, so you find yourself dominating in most group battles. So in close range and long range combat, you'll be fine in dealing damage. However, you'll find yourself suffering in terms of recoil. Overall, the Type 88 LMG is a great weapon to use. This is probably the best weapon to use if you feel comfortable with LMGs, as it does deal a good amount of damage to groups of people. However, you have to watch out for the high recoil in long range battles, though this can be easily controlled the more times you use this weapon. So altogether, this is a great weapon for offensive and defensive players. Next up is the M60 LMG. First off, the M60 has been patched, so the M60's base damage has been decreased in accordance with the other LMG damage values, as this was recognised as the most overpowered LMG in the game. So every day you'll find yourself fighting against a lot of LMG medics using a M60. Anyway, this weapon still has a high damage rate and the slowest fire rate compared to the other LMGs. It has the same magazine size as the PKM, so this being 100. Still a good gun to use in close range and long range battles, but honestly this weapon hasn't really felt its change. It still feels a little bit overpowered because it can take out groups of people without a problem, because I still find myself doing what I did exactly before the patch. However, I recognise that less people are using this weapon now, so maybe there is something different about it, it's just that I can't seem to recognise it.